Yo, what's going on, guys? And according to a recent report by, of course, Marc Stein of the Stein line, the New York Knicks are reportedly seeking permission to speak with the Dallas Mavericks head coach, Jason Kidd, about their vacant coaching position after having fired Tom Thibodeau. Since Kidd is under contract with Dallas, the Knicks must obtain formal approval to initiate discussions of any sort. So before we start today's video, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think of this report? Would you guys want Jason Kidd as your head coach? Let me hear those thoughts in the comment section. It will be greatly appreciated. And if you enjoy the content, we post daily NBA content like this on this channel. I work for hoopshype.com as a multimedia journalist. So liking and subscribing will help out the channel a ton. Now, can head coaches be traded? Of course. If you guys don't remember, Jason Kidd was traded himself from the Brooklyn Nets to the Milwaukee Bucks for 2 second-round picks. I don't know if you guys remember, but Mr. Doc Rivers was traded from Boston to the Los Angeles Clippers for a first-round pick in 2013. And correct me if I'm wrong, I know the Stan Van Gundy thing was a little bit weird because Pat Riley supplanted Stan Van Gundy as coach, and then he basically got sent to Orlando in exchange for some second-round picks. Someone correct me on if I'm remembering the Stan Van Gundy situation. Either way, why is this potentially an interesting thing? Because typically these trades involve second-round picks as the compensation, sometimes a little bit of money. And obviously, this has to require consent from the team and the coach, as this has nothing to do with the players bargaining or the collective bargaining agreement for the players, while also players cannot be traded for a coach. I actually texted Eric Pincus. If you guys haven't watched our previous videos, I had Eric on the channel, and I asked Eric, I was like, hey, what do you know about the, coaches' contracts? And basically said many of the trade rules and procedures aren't actually in the collective bargaining agreement. Cannot trade players under contract for a coach, is what he told me. So just if any of you are thinking, oh, they should trade so-and-so. No, it's basically if there were to be a deal, it would have to be draft picks and money as the compensation. Now, I do think it's interesting that they go after Jason Kidd. I have nothing against Jason Kidd, and I think there's good and bad about him. I will say one thing. A lot of people say he is an agent of chaos. Take that with what you want to know. Just like there's been always a little bit of turmoil wherever he goes, regardless of the amount of success. And if the Knicks proceed with hiring Kidd, they may need to negotiate compensation with the Mavericks and probably a new contract with Kidd. And we can only assume second round picks and other considerations like money will be the package. And I think this just shows the complexities of acquiring a coach under contract, as it not only involves just the two teams, but also the league's approval. And Jason Kidd's connection to the Knicks is due to the existing ties he has to the organization with star players Jalen Brunson and Casey Smith, the Knicks VP of Sports Medicine. These relationships could make the Knicks an appealing destination with Kidd despite his current role with the Mavericks. And he's someone who actually played for the Knicks, if you guys don't remember, at the end of his career. While the situation is one that is developing and to monitor, as this report was coming from Marc Stein of the Stein line, I think this potential move actually shows the consideration that the Knicks are having when trying to put this roster together. We heard the reports that maybe Tom Thibodeau, who his former agent was Leon Rose, who is now the president of the Knicks, might have had an inkling in getting Thibodeau fired. People had said similar things when Thibodeau was fired from the Timberwolves. Next, I think the most interesting thing about this is that, yes, Jalen Brunson has a prior existing relationship with Jason Kidd, and that is more through, because I do not believe their time overlapped, or I think they might have just had one season. I'm trying to make sure that the 1 year that they did, or his first season, Mr. Jason Kidd, I believe, was the year after or before. So Brunson was. I don't think Brunson was on this team. Yeah, no, it was Kristaps Porzingis still on the team, and Jalen Brunson was still on the squad. So there you go. He did get to coach Brunson because the following year was the year that Brunson left, as we just checked. Yep, he basically only coached Brunson for 1 year and then got Kyrie. So there was that overlap. And that one season he did coach Brunson was that Brunson breakout season for the Mavericks that then they regretted not giving him that extension. And that is how he ended up in New York. So what do we think defensively he could bring to the Knicks, or coaching wise? I think the biggest thing they want is a coach that has made it to the finals. I know he lost, but Jason Kidd, not only as a player, but with the Dallas Mavericks, they've made it to the finals. And he's had the ability to coach in conference finals, multiple of them, as well as take teams deep into the playoffs. And I think that's kind of what would give him the advantage as a new coach, the one to replace Tom Thibodeau. As another thing, Kidd is a player coach. He's a guy who's going to foster a competitive spirit. His coaching philosophy more than aligns with the Knicks, that his ability to adapt offensive strategies, what we saw with the addition of Kyrie and Luka Doncic, and then once Luka left, and then building around Kyrie and Anthony Davis, I think that would suit the roster well with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson loving that pick and pop situation, as well as Karl-Anthony Towns becoming a more aggressive player, as well as the prior relationships that we mentioned between Casey Smith and Jalen Brunson is going to be something that is big between these players and a new coach coming in, allowing for a smoother transition to also allow them to create and build a strong team culture in between seasons. Now, what are some of the hazards or challenges or concerns that people may have? Is that Jason Kidd's coaching style has its merits, and I think that's something that you have to think about when you look at it. It's good, but it's also bad. The thing is he is a guy who has short rotations. He'll cut people out the rotation. He won't make the most, I guess, in-depth, or I think the decision processing as a coach in late game situations with the adjustments aren't always the best, as well as he's cool with running ISO heavy offense, let the star players do what they want, get the baskets, which with a team that has a lot of mouth to feeds, and I know that it goes around Brunson and Towns, and Brunson being such a defensive liability, if you guys didn't see the numbers, that's going to be one of the things that you're going to hope that Kidd can fix. But bringing in Kidd is going to be bringing in someone that you believe is going to be able to help your players believe in themselves and to go into a deep playoff run, as he's had experience doing. This would be his 13th. Let me hear your thoughts down below if you guys made it to the end of the video. That's it.